YouTube. How you all doing today? Hi, I want to talk to you about desire in this ramble. And remember, these are my ramblings, so they're not formulaic. And in many ways, because I help people who are just starting out building their businesses predominantly, or maybe like me, slow starters. You've been at this for quite some time, but it hasn't moved. But you can do anything. You don't have to do everything perfectly. And this to me is my example to you that we just have to show up. We just have to get visible. We just have to keep putting value into the world and being a product of our products and an example of what is possible to actually start to move ourselves and our businesses together. Because I truly believe this. You cannot outperform the way you think. You just can't. Nobody in the history of the world has ever been able to do that. You have to upgrade the way you think to upgrade the way you perform, which then gives you new results. So it's really quite a simple concept that I live by. And really, that's what changed everything for me. And here's something else, and this is really what I wanted to talk to you about today is desire. We often desire things, right? We have these deep inner knowings that this is what we should be doing. And I like to think of that as being the map to your destiny because you wouldn't even desire it if it wasn't meant for you. But here's what tends to happen. We desire something, and for maybe some of you out there, it is a business that you build that gives you not just time freedom, but also financial freedom. But I think what it gives you is even more important. You get to show up and help some people with some problems. You show them how to overcome it. You help them, support them, and guide them through that. That to me is priceless. Um, I could go on a rant about the money that the coaching industry charges for ages because I just don't understand why coaching has to be so expensive. And it's this really difficult situation in that we know we value what we pay for. But if somebody's trying to charge you a reasonable amount, which is what I try to do, right? I try to make my services, my membership, the monthly work that we do together affordable. And yet I got so much feedback about, no, you're the Walmart. You're undercharging. Nobody will value what you've got. And I'm like, I get confused by that. But as I said, that's a different rank. I want to get back to desire. So we desire something, and maybe it is to build a business. And we, of course, get lots of information from lots of different sources about exactly how to do that. And oftentimes, when our brain is telling us, and guys, if you've been following me at all, then I often talk about my brain. And I use this rock to explain my brain that I call him Larry because Larry is my lizard brain. The reason I sort of refer to him outside of me is because my brain is not me. My brain is a bunch of thoughts that I have thought so many times that I've turned them into beliefs. That's how my brain operates. My brain also runs my body, so I don't have to remember to breathe. I don't have to remember how to pick a leg up to walk. Those things are unconscious to me. My desire is actually unconscious to me a lot of the time. Why? Because it's just part of me. I know I want this. I know I really want to ride to Grand Prix. That is a desire I've had since I was a teeny tiny girl, and I've managed to do that on trained horses. I want to do it on my own horse, right? It's a strong desire. It's just part of me. I desire to build this business so I get to help people move themselves, their lives, and come out of where I used to sit. The Dutch have a word, a phrase, in fact, it's ik sit in de put, and it just means I sit in a hole. And that's to talk about how depression can operate. And for me, I'm very lucky potentially. My depression was ruled by the way I thought. The minute I could hook up my performance with my thinking, can't outperform the way I could think, then everything moved. And that's what I want to give everybody else, along with the decades of industry experience I've had helping people build businesses. But here's what I see happening. We tune into our desire and then we start to get confused. We start to doubt ourselves and we start to think that we do not have the confidence to go after what we really want. And so we spin. And I call that just, a thought spiral because we've got a lot of practiced thoughts that also probably contribute to confusion, doubt, and the lack of confidence. When I was a kid in school, most of my report cards, because I'll go back and read them, had she needs more confidence, which is really weird to me in one respect because I was so confident in my job as a program manager. But in my personal life, no. And what is a personal brand business? It's your personal life. It is a mirror, it is a reflection of you. So I know what it's like to feel confused, to feel doubt, to feel like you're not going to be good enough. And therefore, we spin, we spiral, and guess what then happens? Nothing, right? Because nothing can happen when our thoughts are full of self-doubt, full of hesitation, full of fear, full of scarcity, full of I'm not good enough, full of maybe this won't work, right? You name it. I think when we lose our true desire and it's buried and we're not actively focused on it, then we can get caught up with Larry's thoughts, not our thoughts. So, how do I know this? Because if you look at some of the people who inspire you, the ones who are actually doing what it is that you want to do, they are showing up in the world in a different way. And it's not that they had a different desire to you because they're probably exactly like you, to be fair, right? They could just get out of their way for long enough so that they could create it. So, what I mean by that, they decided ahead of time that it was going to work. They created a plan that gave them the confidence to know that if they kept executing the plan, then it would work, regardless of all of the so-called failures on the way. Because we all know this, it is so cliche. What is failure? It's the first attempt at learning, right? And really, how have you ever achieved anything in your whole life? Even when you think back, well, you probably can't think back, but when we were little babies, we had to learn how to sit up. And that was a lot of muscle strength. That was a lot of determination to actually get our bodies to sit and then balance and then stay there and then walking. Well, walking was a whole nother story, right? Go look at a little kid trying to learn to walk right now. They fall over, they land on their butts, they fall forward. The whole thing is a complete disaster. Imagine if they decided, I'm not confident at this walking thing. I'm never going to figure this out. Nobody would be walking. I often think about that because it's just like, yeah, why as adults do we attach so many negative thoughts to perception of what a failure is? Because failure is just us learning. So I get, because I talk a lot about identity and shift work and belief work and outperforming your thoughts, right? I know that a lot of you'll be sitting there and go, but let's, how does that convert into clients and income? Identity is not going to get me that. I don't have any time to do this identity work. Just give me the strategy that you've used to get clients to pay you. That's all you want to know, right? But here's the thing. I was just like you potentially, right? Maybe you are really good at what you do. Maybe you are in full belief that you can actually do it. But when it comes to the execution side, you're not following through. You're letting that monkey brain, that little lizard, little Larry, tell you all of, I'm confused. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do this. And maybe you go off and you think, okay, I'm going to use Facebook ads. So I'm going to go and learn how to set up a Facebook ad. And so you get to work setting it up and then you get overwhelmed and it gets confusing and it gets complicated because it's asking you lots of questions. And suddenly the doubt and the fear take over. And then you get into scarcity mindset because what if these ads don't work anyway and it's more money and I don't have money? Off it goes, right? This is just Larry. And that's what I mean about getting your desire front and center. And your desire is always your destiny. It is always where you want to be. It never goes away. How long have you actually wanted to do this, right? It is not something that dissipates or disappears. It's always there. And so what I recommend we do is that we understand that every time we entertain doubt and confusion, we're building up the resistance. But when we are in full desire and we get very clear about what it is we want, and then we don't entertain any doubt or confusion, and we just start to build self-trust, integrity, the I in my think framework, right? The I stands for integrity and inspiration. Then, when you are building that self trust in yourself, that integrity with yourself, you begin to do what you say you are going to do and you execute it. And regardless of the outcome, you're building the trust, you're building the confidence because you're becoming the person who does the thing you said that you're going to do. Then, guess what? When you do that and then you stay in relentless action, you will get the results. They will start to match the vision. They do start to create in real life that desire you hold. And that is truly the difference. That is what it actually takes. Because let's just be honest for a second, right? You can Google anything now. I mean, look at the age we live in. Maybe you're like me. You were here before the internet. You were here when we used to have to understand the Dewey number system in the library to get a book to tell us something. Those days are gone, my friend. You can now Google anything. You could ask ChatGPT to do anything. I have a client who actually ended up working with me because she goes, well, I've been using ChatGPT to coach me for the last 6 months. And what I've realized is it doesn't seem to matter what I do. It tells me I'm doing a really good job. But the reality is I know I'm not. I know that I'm cutting myself off and I need some support, some tough love because I'm known to be quite tough and direct. Because why? I want you to achieve your dream. I want you to achieve your desire. And I remember, I will never forget this. I'm sitting there watching my trainer, horse trainer, dressage trainer in Australia, because I'd packed up and moved to the Sunshine Coast for 2 years. And I was watching her teach somebody else on her horse. And she was doing a lateral movement, which just means the horse was moving sideways, right? And so we still, as riders, want to stay very centered because we're the balance and also a pivot point if you think about how we're seated on a horse. But this lady was all the way over here with the horse trying to bring it to the leg yield. And yes, when we move our weight, the horse feels that. But can you imagine if I put a backpack on you and then positioned it so that it was like this on your back? It's uncomfortable. It's not going to allow you to move with freedom. And do you know what my instructor was telling this lady riding the horse? You're doing great. This is fabulous. This is working. And I'm like, no, it is not great. And no, it could be working even better. Why are we not correcting the fact that she's hanging off the side of the horse? Because she's going to go away and she's going to think that this is correct and she's going to keep practicing this. And when the more we practice that, the more that feels right and the more we do it. And then when somebody actually comes along and says, dude, you're hanging off your horse. You need to come back here. And then, I remember because I actually ended up training this woman as well. I took over the coaching of her and I had to actually show her on video because she did not believe she was doing this. She believed she was centered. And this is the problem when you've got people in your corner and they're just telling you everything you're doing is good, everything you're doing is right. All that copy you're writing is working when maybe it's not. And so that's why I'm always, I'm direct, I'm honest, but I am your biggest champion. So, ChatGPT, great. It'll help you, but it's only going to tell you the good things. It's designed to do that. So, hear me when I say this. This is not an information problem. You should not be out there buying more courses, more programs, more strategies if you've already got something. I joined James Wedmore's Business by Design yonks ago. Everything's in there, and yet I see so many BBDers looking for more strategy, going and buying more programs who are teaching them exactly that. So it's not the information, it's an execution problem. And execution will only ever happen when you truly believe you can do it, when you stop doubting, when you stop getting confused, when you stop stopping and stop quitting. Because when you become that person who does not quit, who doesn't loop in confusion, who stays in relentless action and motion until it's done, then guess what? It gets done. That's identity. That's the power of this work. So here's what I want you to do when doubt starts to creep in. Ask yourself in a deep breath, cleansing it out, how do I want to feel right Now, why am I doubting myself? What am I actually afraid of? What would I do next if I knew without a doubt that what I did would work? Those three questions will snap you out of fear and put you back into power and reconnect you to your desire, your destiny, the thing that you're here to do. Because when you think like the version of you who already has the result, which is the H in my think framework, my tools are fabulous. You really, if you're not in my club, what are you doing? Come into my club, right? So it's the H, it's the how. How we never know how until we've done it. So we always want to know how. So let's get out there and do it. And how do we do it? We know what our destiny is. We know who that version of us needs to be. We know deep down. And then we get to show up and act like them. And then you become them. That is the work that we need to do every single day. And if you were like me, and look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I'm still this person. If you're like me and you have a lot of doubt, a lot of confusion, a lot of mistrust in your ability to execute, then this is your daily work. It doesn't go away. When I started this work, I did a lot of this work. I have lots of tools that I used to transform the way Larry would have me show up and act into who I am today. And there is still oases of places that I'm going to take myself. But here's what worked is those tools, the tools that I actually have now in my club, because I only teach what I know and I only teach what I have used and found worked. And that was one of the biggest ones for me, is to always remember who I wanted to be and what they would be doing and how they would be behaving and how they would not allow doubt and confusion to rule them, because they're just emotions. What they would be looking for is progress, and progress happens in the tiniest of steps, and that's the daily work. So if you are struggling, if you are still circling the drain, as I like to call it, then please, please, please stop. Just come join me. Come join me for a month. Use some of my tools and see if they work for you. But here's my caveat. Don't join my club just because you want to join my club and you've got some cash lying around. Be great to have some income from me, but I don't want you in there if that's why you're in there. I want you to come in here and I want you to take the tools and I want you to use them. And if you have any problems with using them, you come and ask me. That's what I'm there for. I'm not disappearing on you. There are no other coaches inside my club. It is me. You pay for me, you get me. That will never change, right? That's why I have a very strict membership number, because I know I can only handle so many active people at a time. So net, your desire, the thing you've always wanted, that is your destiny. How do I get to my destiny? By executing. How do I execute? By not doubting, by not lacking confidence, by not being afraid, by overcoming. How do I do that if I can't do it on my own? You do the identity work. That is the shift, that is the power, and that is how you will get there. I love this one. This one is exciting for me because this is actually how we get to anything, right? And yeah, I hope you got value from this one. Thumbs up so I know that you stayed with me right to the end, because it's a new channel, it's a new me, it's a new version of what I'm producing. I have no idea. I could just be sitting here in my room in New Zealand yakking to my webcam and nobody could be listening. But if you are, thumbs up, please. If you feel like it, leave a comment below. If you want to know more about the club, the links are in the show notes or whatever the heck will be with here. And other than that, go think about what you want to achieve. Go reconnect with your desire. Go feel that beautiful sense of, I know this is what I'm meant to do. Get back in touch with that and then move forward. And I will catch you in the next one. Take care, everyone. Bye.